In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Tuesday. Here we go.
Y'all gonna put that in the Coke?
Yes. I want them to see it in there.
10 days, you drink this, your body will crave it. You'll want nothing else. I said, all right, you are the guy for it. You are the guy.
Hey, one thing in the world has that effect on me, and I can't say it on camera. It ain't water. You know, you're inside. You know, you're seeing how it really works for the most part, and in a way that few people get to see.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you grew up watching The West Wing.
Yeah.
You are familiar with the show House of Cards and these sorts of things. And obviously, you know, it's Hollywood, so there's going to be some exaggeration or some things have to happen to make it more dramatic. But is it a little closer to the real world than we would like to say?
The thing I don't like about House of Cards, and it is kind of a guilty pleasure kind of show, I must admit, but it's a little bit more, or it's a lot more cynical than I like. Most people there, I do believe, are genuinely trying to serve the country, do the right thing, et cetera. But, you know, I think it's actually probably a lot harder to do really wrong things in D.C. because so many people are watching. I mean, Republicans are watching the Democrats. There's a million journalists. I think it's actually much easier to be up to no good in Montgomery, Alabama, because there's only a handful of journalists. There's nobody really watching.
How about this? Apparently so.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard.
Right.
Yellowhammer did break that story about the governor and his.
Yes.
And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to tell you that for the month or two after we broke that story, I did walk up behind my wife in the kitchen numerous times and say, you know, when I just come up behind you.
Clem.
So you come in hot this morning, coming in real hot this morning, saying Reese's Cups is going to be discontinued.
That's what I heard on Fox News.
And I'm like, and then we Google it, and it turns out that it's fake news. You're fired.
People ask me all the time, has he changed since he became president? I don't think he's changed one bit. The thing that I think has changed him, has changed me, has changed everybody around us, is there is no way that you can travel around this country and meet people from every corner of America the way that we have, people who are scrapping, fighting, trying to work their way up, provide for their family. I mean, it's remarkable how similar we all are when you kind of break it down to the brass tacks. Meet those people and not be impacted by what a great country we live in.
Is he coachable?
Yes.
The president?
Yeah. I think he's probably one of the best listeners that I've ever met. I'm dead serious. And then he's extremely decisive when it's time to make a decision. And I think that's what you want out of a president.
Where do you think he is on his faith journey?
You know, I think this is something that we have talked about some, and I've watched him kind of walk through the last year. This week is a year since I've been around. I think it is no doubt a part of who he is, part of his character. It's something that he has wrestled with, I think, like we all have. And as far as politics go, I think he's exactly what you want, somebody who is a staunch defender of religious liberty and thinks that people of faith around this country are really the backbone. I think it's no doubt a big part of who he is.
Well, I talked to some people that we would all have respect for who they are as men and women of God. But all of them have said the thing that is a little bit different is we're allowed to say whatever we want to say to him concerning faith. Mm-hmm. You know, when the leaders of the American church get in front of him, he says, we're given an audience.
We hear that all the time from faith leaders that come into the White House. It's been a long time. It's been at least 8 years since we were allowed to come in here the way that we are and express our opinion openly about things that are going on in the faith community. And so, as a Christian, it has been a real honor to work in that kind of environment.
The turnover that we've had in the administration.
One is this is a guy who prioritized performance over everything, so you got to deliver. Right. That's no doubt important. It was important to him as a private businessman. It's important to him in his job now. The other thing that I would say is these jobs are high turnover jobs anyways. I mean, you don't see a lot of people lasting years and years in White House jobs, and a lot of that's because the hours are unbelievable. It's a high-stress environment. Every issue that reaches the president's desk is an issue of significant weight and importance. And no matter who you are, that weighs on you over time. And so it's kind of natural in a way for that turnover to happen like that.
How aggravated is he with the Republicans not moving his agenda forward?
I don't think there's any. He's been very open about his frustrations with that. And I will say the biggest surprise that I've had since we've gotten there is how doggone hard it is to get anything done in Congress. Yep. I think it's been a learning process for us. And I'm really optimistic, especially going to the fall, about getting some tax cuts, tax reform for the American people out there. That's something that seems to have broad consensus, not only among Republicans, but even some Democrats out there about giving working men and women around this country more money in their pocket. I think you combine that with the things he's done on the regulation side. I mean, that didn't get him much attention, but what we have done to roll back regulations that have been crushing businesses for the past 8 years, that's why you saw 3% economic growth in the last quarter, which they said was impossible. They said 2% is the new normal. Difference between 2 and 3%, 12 million jobs over 10 years. Yeah. So if we can sustain that kind of growth,
we'll be right back.
Rick and Bubba.
Look at no ports on this, all USB. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah. I'm not
tell
with
me you
it.
can't lose this.
How is that simpler? How is that more simple?
Exactly. I got all these little dongles I'm carrying. I got
you get caught playing with your dongle. Then what?
I got one for the USB. I've got one, but anyway. So.
I would say this is one of the areas where the president has really delivered to this point. Illegal immigration across the southern border down 70+% year over year. I mean, just overnight, the faucet got dang near shut off. And so ratcheting up enforcement down there and interior enforcement as well. I mean, some of those criminal elements like MS-13 gangs, rounding them up and shipping them out, not playing games with that anymore. So we're going to build the wall. And there's a lot left to do down there on the border, but I think we're heading in the right direction.
Cliff, wasn't a lot of that he just took the handcuffs off the law enforcement
totally.
and let them do the laws that were already on the books?
The administration before would not enforce the constitutional responsibility. Was the thing with Sessions and Trump awkward for you since you were such good friends with Sessions? And that seems to have settled down.
Yeah, no, I mean, in some ways. I mean, I consider Jeff Sessions a personal friend, but also served the President of the United States, and so I've always got his back 100%. So there was some, I think that's in any kind of working environment where the stakes are that high, people are going to butt heads at different times and disagree at different times.
I hope I'm right on this. It looks like it has settled down. What I didn't want in all this is to lose Sessions as an attorney general.
Yeah,
because that was a good appointment, especially on this topic. Mm-hmm. And you see that's. I'm not just saying that. You're actually seeing results of it.
Right.
So I didn't want that to cost him being the attorney general.
And I think the real thing where you're not seeing the success, and Cliff, you might want to speak to this, is the prosecutors he's appointing across the country, the judges that are going to be appointed across the country is going to make a huge difference down the road. I mean, that's a generational job he's doing right now.
Totally right. And that is another one of those things that just doesn't get talked about. Not obviously Gorsuch on the Supreme Court. That's you're talking about generational stuff. Right. But if you start looking at these appellate courts and these lower level courts that he's appointing people to, it is every conservative's dream, the appointments that he is making. He's stuck to his promises on what he was going to do on that.
Hey guys, I just wanted to ask. I didn't know if you can speak on this or not, but is Donald Trump really going to let Dennis Rodman bring peace between us and North Korea?
Oh, that's good. China could solve this, and they just don't seem to be willing to do so.
Well, and diplomatically, that's been, as you've seen, kind of the strategy plan. In some ways is to simply ask China, to play a more significant role in this. And economically, they have made some concessions that they never have before. So I think we've made some progress there, but still a long way to go. And the thing I love about him is whether it's in public or whether it's in private, and we were talking about this off the air a little bit, he's the same guy. He says the same things. He holds the same positions. And I've gained a great deal of respect for him for that, especially in foreign affairs.
He was sitting here when he had pea water come down on him.
Your things are protected. Go to Simply Safe.
A lot.
And I look at my shoulder and I see what it is, and then I look up.
Urine.
And it's just coming. It's just raining down on me.
There's no pattern to it. It's just all over the place.
It's like machine gun fire coming down. So I run upstairs, and And I've got to apologize to the people in the waiting room, the nurses that were behind the receptionist desk.
There's a doctor's office upstairs.
There's a doctor's office upstairs, and I just blast in their door.
Like you're coming through like a saloon. Boom,
Yeah,
coming through the door.
Shirt wet.
Yeah. Shirt wet, and I go
backwards.
straight through the thing and just bust open that bathroom door, and there's a plumber there.
Because you've been there before, you knew where it was.
I knew exactly what the room was.
Exactly where to go because it's the third time it's happened.
Yeah.
And he's got, and I go, it's happening again!
Did you lose?
It's happening again!
So you lost it. You're Incredible Hulk.
So as he's plunging, he's sending it on.
Dr. Banner is gone.
Yes.
Hi, Cliff. I am a small business owner. My husband owns a farm, and we are being killed by this Affordable Care Act, this Obamacare.
Mm-hmm.
We can't find insurance. I can't help with my husband and our business. I have to keep another job just so we can afford insurance for our family of 4. What's the plan to get around that?
Congress is going to make another run at it, and the president has been very supportive of every effort to repeal and replace the disaster known as Obamacare, as he likes to call it. And we will continue that push. I mean, he's not going to give up on it. He hasn't wavered 1 second on that particular issue, and we're going to continue to keep the pressure on to get that done.
Just so I can have insurance for my family. It's over $2,000 a month with a $7,000 deductible per family member.
Well, this reminds me of, you hear all the time that, oh, well, Obamacare insured an extra, X number of people. Well, the insurance ain't even usable.
Right.
When your deductible is what some of these deductibles are. I mean, you can say you're insured all you want to, but that ain't insurance.
It's window dressing. It's not real.
Now, whether they knew they were lies at the time, I tend to think they did, because I think it's all trying to push people to a one-payer system. Because if you're a socialist, you got to have.
Well, they're
healthcare.
finally being honest about what
Bernie's
they wanted the
doing
whole
that
time,
now.
right?
Yeah.
And the Democrats finally being open about that's where they wanted to go all along. We all knew it.
And one of the things, and the president's talked about this even when he was running for president, we have to get to where people just buy insurance from anywhere they want to.
Yeah, cross state lines, 100%.
That's got to happen.
We're staying on it. I mean,
Capitalism and the free market.
The difference between a winner and a loser is the loser quit before the winner did, and more often than not, we ain't quitting. And the president brings it up all the time. Even private, behind. Hey, we got to get this done. We got to do it. What's going on in Capitol Hill today? We got to get this done. So I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe we can get it done this year. We'll see.
Cliff, good to see you.
How's the food in the White House?
Oh my gosh, one of the best things. The White House mess, unbelievable. The Navy runs the food in the White House. They know what they're doing.
And how scary or how kind are the aliens?
Oh, the aliens have been very cordial to this point. I was actually a little bit surprised. I mean, I've seen Independence Day. I know a lot of you guys have. They were very kind to me. They gave me a lot of assurances, and so rest easy.
Nothing to worry about.
All right.
Y'all be good. See ya.
Hey, Cliff.
Yep.
You better check your text.
Oh boy. Well, somebody asked him, well, what's your agenda at the UN? He said, make the UN great. He said, not again. Make it great.